Whenever Hybe debuts a new group, everyone seems to be hyped up about what they have to offer. Le Sserafim, for example, was the first group to debut under Source Music after they were acquired by Hybe, so people were very excited to see them hit the stage. Then, New Jeans made their debut with Attention out of nowhere and have set record after record since then. So when JTBC and B-Lift Lab announced that they would be creating a survival show called Are You Next with the aim to create a new girl group, everyone was waiting on the edge of their seats for what was to come. The show aired from June to September of 2023 and had 22 trainees proving themselves and their skills through 7 rounds. In the final episode, the public and the B-Lift's producers chose the lineup that would debut as ILLIT, and the members in question were Wonhee, Youngso, Minju, Iroha, Mocha, and Yuna. However, even though the group had just been formed, there were already a lot of people that had problems with it as they believed the whole thing had been rigged. One of the reasons people thought so was because the voting process decided to change in the very last episode. Not only did the international votes not count in the final episode, but it turned out that the audience could only decide on 2 group members while the label picked the other 4. Since international fans were made to believe that they have a big part in deciding the final lineup, it felt very shocking when they realized that the final verdict was only up to Hybe. So these last-minute changes seemed really fishy to the viewers, as they had already suspected that the whole thing was rigged, especially after Jimin and Jiwoo were eliminated in the 10th episode of the show. They were both 2 of the most popular trainees in the show and had a lot of support from Korean and Chinese audiences, so it was shocking when they got removed. While nobody would be surprised if the show really turned out to be rigged, you would expect trainees like Jimin and Jiwoo to make the final lineup. Another alleged proof that the show might be manipulated was that shortly after the finale aired, the 6 members were featured on Vogue Korea. When we say shortly, we mean only a day after the lineup was announced. The members looked stunning, but it seemed suspicious that this was able to happen so soon after the finale, which made the whole thing even worse and in favor of the rigging speculations. In fact, fans thought that the company couldn't have been more obvious about how they had manipulated the results to debut the trainees they wanted to debut. A Twitter user said, "I don't think I've ever seen a program admit so blatantly to rigging their lineup like this." However, other netizens didn't quite agree to the rigging allegations that people were throwing around. By definition, rigging means manage fraudulently so as to produce a result or situation that is advantageous to a particular person. According to internet users, though, Are You Next was a company-run show, and even though the fans could show who they were rooting for and choosing, the final decision belonged to the company. Sure, they could consider the choices of the fans, but Hybe was the only one who had a say in who would debut. At most, they were manipulative, but they weren't technically doing anything illegal. Unfortunately, this isn't the only trouble the group faced before debuting. In January of this year, B-Lift Lab announced that Youngso would not be debuting with the rest of the members. According to the company, the 2 parties had a talk and decided to end Youngso's exclusive contract. They asked people not to speculate about the reason behind her departure, but it was unrealistic to do so. Everybody loves nothing more than to make up theories and rumors. Some found it reasonable that she left before the 2 parties got too invested, especially if they realized that this wasn't going to work out in the long term. Others thought that it could be something related to Youngso's health, which might also be why the debut was delayed. If she realized that she wasn't feeling better by the time debut time was rolling around, she could have opted out to not delay the album any further. A big number of theories went kind of crazy. A few people said that B-Lift might have found something fishy about her past, maybe mistreatment accusations from when she was in school. Not wanting to deal with another Garam situation, Hybe terminated her contract and just presented it as a mutual decision between the 2. Another theory people had is related to Youngso getting into a dating scandal before debut. Roughly a month back, it was said that Rice's Sunghan had allegedly posted a video message from Youngso on his private Instagram account. This was during the time when all his other scandals were happening, so it didn't gain much traction, but a lot of people thought that the 2 were romantically involved. Not to mention that judging by the outfit means that she sent that just after the finale, which means that she probably called him up to announce the good news. Since Youngso had once been a trainee under SM, it would make sense that she could have struck out a friendship with Sunghan during her time there. However, this was disproven really quickly. It seems like the video message was actually posted by one of her friends, but since that wouldn't get as much attention as if they were to involve Sunghan, they said that it was posted on his account. Whatever the reason for Youngso's departure is, we really wish we could see her again on stage because she was one of the most popular trainees for a reason. That wasn't the only controversy that ILLIT had before debuting. A few weeks before the group made their official debut, it was announced that they were invited to attend Paris Fashion Week. This sparked a lot of discussions online as they felt like Hybe was doing the most to promote them before the girls even got a chance to debut. To them, ILLIT didn't have any influence yet to attend events like this, and the fact that the company was basically pushing them to the public seemed inorganic and privileged. A Twitter user commented, "What has happened to K-pop? K-pop. They don't even have any music out yet, but we are supposed to believe they have made an impact outside their primary field. Another argument that was made was that things like ambassadorships and fashion show appearances won't be special anymore when they're offered to groups that haven't even debuted yet. ILLIT have also become ambassadors of Acne Studios, which once again angered netizens and fans to no end. One person mentioned that the main goal of being an ambassador is to have a strong and appealing image because it represents the brand and convinces people to purchase from them. Since ILLIT hadn't debuted at the time, you couldn't exactly say that they had an image at all, let alone a marketable or impactful one. Another user tweeted, "Aside from the fact that they haven't debuted, this doesn't make any sense for Acne. The girls are so young they don't even fit the target demographic." However, the discourse quickly went from criticizing the labels and the way the industry is moving to hating the girls themselves. They were made to be the villains in all of this, as if they aren't supposed to welcome all the deals that promote them even more. The whole brand ambassador thing, combined with the alleged use of AI for the teasers as well as accusations that the group is too similar to NewJeans, had the girls receiving a lot of unnecessary hate in the weeks leading up to the debut. To add to that, Are You Next wasn't that successful as a show. People were still angry about their favorite trainees not making it, and they were also frustrated that Hybe was pulling all the strings to push the group. So considering all this, people weren't so sure that ILLIT would have a successful debut. In fact, they were labeled the company's first flop group, despite the fact that nobody had any idea how successful they would be after debut. Well, the girls certainly proved them wrong. When Magnetic came out, everyone was tuned in and they weren't disappointed. Not only was the song different from NewJeans, it was addictive, catchy, and very easy to listen to. It was no wonder that it went viral on TikTok and already started breaking records. On March 25th, their debut day, they made it onto the Spotify Global Chart, making them the first girl group to do so. Previously, LE SSERAFIM entered the chart with Fearless 2 days after their debut, so the ILLIT members are really making history here. They're doing pretty well on the charts too, especially for a group that just started. All the hate tweets against them that got tens of thousands of likes got them attention in one way or another without the company even trying. All they had to do with it was release a good album and the attention would pay off, and they did just that. The members are also very charming and talented, which has only made the public more interested in them. The hate has also greatly contributed to people checking them out more. They basically got hate for nothing, including the Paris Fashion Week thing and their lineup, so they had an audience who supported them because they felt sympathetic. They also got criticism during their debut showcase as they didn't fall for the bait questions that reporters were asking them. A Reddit user commented, "If it weren't for those ridiculous PFW complaints, I most likely wouldn't have paid any attention to this group or their debut, lol. The whiners really did them a favor. With their good music and the it factor that the members seem to possess, we wouldn't be too surprised if the girls become more and more popular with every comeback. Along with NewJeans, they have the potential to be the 5th generation leaders, so we're very excited to see them grow even more in the future. Hopefully, we won't have to wait for their next release too long."